Let me call to order the June quarterly meeting of the Tennessee Board of Regents. I want to welcome all of you in attendance. Let me say on the front end, I apologize for the tightness of the space here in the room, but a couple of things. One, as all of you are aware, we do webcast our meetings, and they are being webcast, but more importantly, we also have 2 overflow rooms, which will allow individuals who are here in person to have access to hear and see what is going on in this room. I would also sincerely like to thank, as I will later in the day, the staff and leadership at Nashville State Community College and the TTC Nashville for their generous and great hospitality and putting together the accommodations for this meeting. At this time, what I would like to do is introduce our 2 new commissioners to the Tennessee Board of Regents. It is my pleasure to introduce first Julius Johnson, which then later I'll introduce Commissioner of Education Kevin Huffman. Commissioner Johnson was appointed by the Governor Haslam and sworn in as the 36th Commissioner of Agriculture January of this year. Prior to his appointment, he was the Chief Administrative Officer of the Tennessee Farm Bureau Association, serving 37 years in various positions with one of the leading farm and rural advocacy organizations in our nation. Having had extensive experience in working with government at local, state, and federal levels, he is widely regarded as a leading authority on farm policy and rural issues. He is active in many civic organizations and has served on the University of Tennessee Agricultural Development Board and in leadership with Murray County Chamber of Commerce. He was a Kiwanian and supports the Boy Scouts as president-elect of the Middle Tennessee Council. A native of Forbes, Tennessee and Fentress County, Mr. Johnson received his bachelor's degree in animal science from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. He and his wife Karen have 2 adult children and make their home in Columbia, Tennessee. Commissioner Johnson, we are pleased to welcome you to the Board of Regents. The second commissioner is Commissioner Kevin Huffman. Mr. Huffman was sworn in as Tennessee State Commissioner of Education on April 4th of this year. Prior to his appointment, Mr. Huffman spent nearly 2 decades working in public education systems as a teacher, lawyer, nonprofit executive, and nonprofit board member. Mr. Huffman began his education career as a first and second grade bilingual teacher in the Houston Independent School District, teaching students in English and Spanish. He was a member of his school's elected shared decision-making committee and trained new teachers as a faculty advisor in school district at Teach for America's summer training institutes. As a lawyer at the Washington, D.C. law firm of Hogan Hartson, Mr. Huffman represented districts, state departments of education, and universities working on policy and litigation matters, including challenges to state finance systems, desegregation litigation, and special education hearings and trials. Mr. Huffman joined the senior team of Teach for America in 2000, serving as the General Counsel, the Senior Vice President of Growth, Strategy, and Development, and the Executive Vice President of Public Affairs during more than a decade with the organization. Mr. Huffman served on the organization's leadership team throughout his tenure as Teach for America grew into the largest provider of new teachers in the country. Mr. Huffman graduated from Swarthmore College with a BA in English Literature in 1992 and from New York University School of Law in 1998, where he was a member of the Law Review. Mr. Huffman has served on the advisory board of KIP, Denver Explore Schools, College Summit, and the National Science Resource Center. Commissioner Huffman, welcome to the board, and we look forward to working with you over the coming years. I also would like to acknowledge, for those who were not with us yesterday during our committee hearing meetings, that's the lawyer in me coming out, that we had representatives from the student, we had student and faculty representatives sit in with us as part of those meetings, and we had Mr. Robert Overall, Mr. Sam Killebrew, Mrs. Mary Arkbeck, and Mrs. Anne Marie Helene. They sat in yesterday during our meetings. Before we call the roll, the last I would like to acknowledge our 4 Maxine Fellows who are seated behind Secretary Modisher. They have joined us for this meeting, and Maxine Smith, for, as most of you know, served on this board for a number of years, and these individuals are with us today participating in the meeting, and we're glad to have you. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Regent Copeland.
Here.
Regent Duckett.
Here.
Regent Ferris.
Here.
Regent Gidcombe.
Here.
Regent Griscom.
Here.
Regent Huffman.
Here.
Regent Johnson.
Here.
Regent Kisber.
Here.
Regent Markham.
Here.
Regent McCullum.
Here.
Regent Montgomery.
Here.
Regent Reynolds.
Here.
Regent Rhoda.
Here.
Regent Roddy.
Here.
Regent Thomas.
Here.
Regent Varlin.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Continuing or turning to the agenda, the first item on the agenda for today is our presentations. The first presentation will be made by the Tennessee Road Builders Association. It's their award. The Tennessee Road Builders Association is here today to present to a Tennessee Technology Center an award for the academic year's outstanding service to the Ollie Otter Child Restraint Program. The program is sponsored by the Tennessee by the Tennessee Transportation Development Foundation, which is a nonprofit group established by the Tennessee Road Builders Association and the Tennessee Road Builders Association Ladies Auxiliary. The program is an effort to increase awareness about the importance of using booster seats and seat belts. Ollie Otter helps communicate to children and their families that Tennessee law requires the use of booster seats until a child is 4 feet 9 inches or 9 years old. I would like to ask Mr. Bo Roberts to come forward, appreciate that, to make a presentation as well as introduce the guests that are with you today.
Thank you, Chairman Duckett and Chancellor Morgan, Regents. It's a pleasure once again to be with you to talk briefly about a program that's making quite an impact throughout this state and that you all are quite heavily involved in, probably more so than you realize at this point. The number one cause of death for children 5 through 14 is automobile accidents. So we look at wellness programs, we can look on the roads of Tennessee and see that far more than cancer and diabetes and several other diseases, that this is the wellness problem, if you will, for the ages 5 through 14. And that's what this program addresses, really focusing on 5 through 9. This is a niche that was found in this program, and because of its success, a generation of children are getting exposed through, it's more than just a fun thing with a great character whom you'll meet in a little while, but also there's a very strong message there as to why it's important to practice seat belts, booster seats, and for them to encourage their siblings and their parents and their grandparents to do the same. So this is what this program is all about. It is fun, and it's exciting, and it's great if you ever go to one of these schools and watch this presentation between 200 and 1,200 people, or 2,000, as many as 2,000 in assembly, to see them get excited about it. But more importantly, they remember it, because each one of those children that you'll learn more about in just a moment have physically either high-fived or touched Dolly or hugged Dolly as they leave the room. So it's a hands-on, actual, real involvement. And the Board of Regents is extremely involved in this. I met with Chancellor Morgan about some other subjects some time ago, and we were kidding about when we were trying to get Governor Bredesen to come for the commemoration of the 250,000th child to go through this, to have been touched by Ollie. And I said, you know, little did you know when you moved over from deputy governor to this seat that you're going to find out how much involved this little program that you all are. But starting with what makes it possible are the almost 900 volunteers throughout the state. Each of those 900 volunteers have gone through a training program, your online program, and it's offered free. Thank you. But each of those are actually trained volunteers to be a part of this program throughout the state. We're going to talk more about the Tennessee Technology Centers in a little bit, but their involvement was real early on. One of the reasons we had a meeting with them, with their association, got together and they said, hey, we want in. And when they got in, they were in. Thanks to James King and the leadership, that it's just been a wonderful involvement. And then Tennessee Tech University. Carol Coleman and I, whom you met a moment, were going down to meet for the road builders to meet with President Bob Bell. And he said, I want you to meet some, we talked about this, I want you to meet some people. And he took us across, walked across the campus with us, went over to the Business Media Center and met Kevin Liska and his folks. And a partnership began there that's just been marvelous. And they are the recipient of the Governor's Highway Safety Grant and with matching funds from the road builders, and they actually implement the program on a day-to-day basis, have employees there through that grant. And they're just a marvelous representation of what higher education is about in this state, and implementing and dealing with situations and providing promotion for all these activities. So heavy involvement, and their involvement is daily. And it's something that we are proud to be associated with you, the Board of Regents, and your various institutions. And there are others' involvement, I could go on, but those are the primary ones we wanted to mention today, and we appreciate it and want to say thank you. And now to talk and present the award, to talk a little bit more about the program, the lady who is the chairman of the Tennessee Transportation Development Foundation, which was created by the road builders, and their primary function is this program. She also is the inspiration behind this program. It was her personal story of family losses on the highways, and wanting to get the ladies and get the men involved in a program through the road builders that started it. She's been the inspiration throughout and still involved on a daily basis. Say hello to Carol Coleman from Livingston.
Thank you, Bo, and I'm very humbled to be here with you all today. The Tennessee Road Builders are proud to have launched this program to make a difference in the lives of Tennessee children. And as Bo mentioned, the #1 killer of children, and I don't know if you've even thought about that. I mean, we always think about cancer or diabetes or something, but the #1 killer is traffic accidents. And I think we are definitely making a difference in that. But with the wonderful assistance of the Board of Regents and the Governor's Highway Safety Office, this program has received amazing results. If you look up on the screen, you'll see some of the results. 329,000 children That's a lot of children to visit in the schools. 17,390 classrooms that we've been to. 1,113 schools. So, and it's been fun. It's been fun to look in those children's eyes and know that you are making a difference. But no matter how impressive these overall numbers are, let me share just a few family experiences. Last year, I talked to you about Macon County, and a little boy had told his sister that morning to buckle up, because that's what Ollie told him to do. Well, the family was in an accident, and those two children's lives were saved because Ollie told him to buckle up, and he did what Ollie told him to do. And this year, I'd like to tell you about another story. A principal in Clay County, Tennessee, was eager for Ollie to come back to their school this year because 3 children in that school who were foster brothers and sisters were in a rollover accident with their mother. Everyone in the family was buckled up and properly restrained. No one was injured, and everybody was safe. But the principal told us that this was not a seatbelt family. But the kids had seen Ollie in a presentation right before the accident, and they had heard Ollie's message loud and clear. And again, because Ollie had told them to do it, they had asked their mom to buckle her seatbelt. So the stories keep coming in. And Tennessee is the first and only state in the nation to do a comprehensive seatbelt or booster seat campaign in elementary schools. And this was developed and marketed at the TBR on Tennessee Tech University Business Media Center. And that day was a godsend when President Bell introduced me to Kevin Liska at the Business Media Center. This past school year alone, the technology centers were responsible for the presentation to more than 30,000 school children. And through the technology centers' participation, my good friend Ralph Robbins in Livingston was one of the big inspirations for me for getting involved in the Tennessee Technology Centers. But to honor these outstanding efforts, last year the Tennessee Road Builders presented the inaugural Ollie Award to the most outstanding effort during the past school year. And to honor the 3 finalists, I'd like to just have you to look at the finalists, I guess, but first of all, I'd like to ask the 2 representatives from the Tennessee Road Builders, which is President Joe Rogers, and Joe is the president of Civil Constructors of Franklin, and he is joined by Kent Starwall, who is our Executive Vice President of the Tennessee Road Builders Association. So would you all come and stand with the Ollie Award? And I think now it's a good time probably to call in Ollie. So some of you may have met Ollie and some of you may not have. So if you can see and look at Ollie, you can see why the children are so taken away with him. They love him, they chant his name, Ollie, Ollie, come in, Ollie. And well, I don't think we've had Kent to wear the Ollie yet, so that might be a next good step. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you. Now, this year's 3 finalists are the Technology Center at McMinnville, the Technology Center of Morristown and the Technology Center of New Bern. And if you will look at your screen, you will see the participation. Like New Bern has done 20-plus schools and with 15-plus volunteers and 4,800 children reached. So today I would like to announce that New Bern is our new, they get the new Ollie Award. So I'd like to call Brian Collins, who is our director of New Bern. Is he here?
Yes.
Congratulations. I need help. You want to come forward? Well, we want to thank the Board of Regents for allowing the Tennessee Road Builders to participate in your meeting today, and I truly, truly thank you for all your participation.
I don't want to drop it.
Thank you to the Tennessee Road Builders Association. We really appreciate that. The next item on our agenda is the Tennessee Technology Center Outstanding Student of the Year program in the 2011 winter, to which I will call on Vice Chancellor James King to present that item.
Thank you, Regent Duckett. And I thought for a while it was Brian Collins in the outfit. I didn't know that. I didn't see him around. He was sitting over here. But good morning, and truly this is a pleasure. As I mentioned to you yesterday, you know, while we're out in Kansas City, you know, we had one of our outstanding students out there that were presiding over 15,000 student organization there at the Kemper Arena in Kansas. And I think a few years ago, you know, as I was hanging around students, I realized how many great students there are across the state and within the technology centers. And we put together what we viewed as an outstanding Student of the Year program, and it was really selfish on my behalf. In other words, it was a way to have students help me do my job, really, and is to promote the good things going on across the state. But Chancellor, I'd like to take one point of privilege before we get started. You know, when I started this, that there was one member of my staff that I basically assigned to carry the load. And she was a tiny person, but she carried a big load, and has been in the last 3 years instrumental in coordinating all activities across the state. And I'm sad to say today that this will be her last board meeting and her last opportunity, for now anyway. I think she'll be back to participate in the ceremony. But would you please help us send off Shelley Travis in a big way? Shelley? But she has really done a fabulous job and on this. But this student has been, we started out 3 years ago, and when we first thought of this program, we were going to have 2 students from each region. Each school participates, and we were going to have a regional competition and have 2 students from each state go to the state final. We couldn't select 2 the first year, so it ended up 3 going. So it had been 9 at the final. So it got to the point this year that we couldn't even select 3 from each region. So it ends up 4 because there's no cutoff. You've got outstanding students, and the momentum is growing. And we've had, this year, I've actually put Regent Varlin, saw it firsthand and really had to work to decide the outstanding student. We had Regent Varlin and former Regent Gooch judging, and Fran was involved in a lot of the competition and saw the quality of students we have across the state. And, you know, it's tough, and I'm beginning to, and Regent Kisper has judged a regional competition before, and I'm beginning to wonder how I'm going to get judges, because it's tough to ask somebody to judge a contest that judges actually cry because they can't make a decision. And so it's just that tough. But At this time, I would like to welcome this year's outstanding student, Miss Mary Elaine Wilson from TTC Harriman.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. I would like to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you. I have worked since I was 15 years old. The last job that I had before I opened up my own salon was in a factory where I worked for almost 9 years. I spent over 7 of those years working a third shift job. In March of 2008, the company I worked for made the decision to purchase parts from China and Mexico. As a result, almost 400 people lost their jobs, and I was one of those. At this point in my life, I was terrified. This job was my livelihood, and I took pride in what I did. I did not want change, like so many of us have done at one point or another in our life. I had allowed myself to become comfortable, and because of that, I had spent years telling myself that there's nothing else out there for me to do but factory work. Whether I wanted change or not, change was coming, and I had some decisions that I was forced to make. I knew that I never wanted to go back into a factory or any job that I held so little control over my own future. I never wanted to know that I could so easily be replaced. So I made the decision to go back to school. I started the cosmetology program at my Tennessee Technology Center in Harriman, May of 2009. Not only did my program set me on a path to a true career, it gave me a passion for the work that I now have the privilege of doing every day. I have had the opportunity to see my dad, at the age of 50, attend the Technology Center. And his program helped him obtain his contractor's license, and I've seen him go on and do very well. I have felt the excitement and joy at 30 of having a career that I absolutely love. And I felt proud to see my younger brother take his first steps through the front doors of a technology center to start his own path that's going to lead him to endless possibilities. A wise lady had once told me that she had raised her children believing that if you want to grow up and dig ditches for a living, that that's fine and that there's no shame in that. She insisted that they have more than just a high school education, so that even if they chose to dig ditches, if they ever chose to come up out of it, they would have a path out. And that is what the technology centers are for so many people. My story starts out like millions of others that you will hear all throughout the United States. Every day, people are losing their jobs and facing the fear of losing everything that they've spent years working for. I want others to see that if it's possible for me to start a new path at the Tennessee Technology Center, then it's possible for them to do the same. I have went from being unemployed to student to small business owner, and I can now stand here before you today, and I can proudly say that I am a product of the Tennessee Technology Centers. Thank you for your time.
And so, folks, and what's a pleasure, these students are all over the state. And if you wouldn't mind, Regent Duckett, Regent Chancellor Morgan, and Fran, could you come forward and have a picture with?
It's wonderful.
Congratulations again, Mary, that's tremendous. Now we will move to the consent agenda. Regents, you have received copies of the material presented under today's consent agenda, and by using the consent agenda, we will dispense with the reading of the minutes. Today, you will have the opportunity to ratify all of them without discussion. If any member wants discussion on a particular item, you may withdraw that item. Now, from the consent agenda, I ask fellow regents, does anyone have a concern regarding any item that is on the consent agenda?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
It has been properly moved and second. I will note that as part of the consent agenda, it does include the approval of the appointment of Jeff Sisk as the new director of the TTC. Just want to make sure that you are aware of that. But hearing no further discussion, all in favor, this item requires a voice vote. Signify by aye. Aye. Opposes no. Consent agenda is approved. Also, the consent agenda did not include the approval of tuition and/or maintenance fees for 2011 or 2012 approval and approval of the funding of operations for 2011, 2012, or approval of promotional increases and approval of system compensation plan recommendations. As you are aware, we will act on those items later under new business. At this time, let's move to item 3 on the agenda, which is the approval, the Regents Award in Excellence in Philanthropy. I call on Regent Roddy for a report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. It is my pleasure to share with the board and our audience the most recent recipients of the Regents Award for Excellence in Philanthropy. The Sevier County Commission, the Sevierville Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the Gatlinburg Board of Commissioners, and the Pigeon Forge Board of Mayor and Aldermen. From unprecedented financial support for capital projects to innovative scholarship programs, the 4 governmental entities of Sevier County have clearly demonstrated their commitment to making higher education opportunities more accessible for the citizens they serve. In addition to making higher education more accessible through facilities expansion, all 4 Sevier County governmental entities have provided significant funds for a scholarship program benefiting Sevier County high school graduates. Through the Sevier County Partners in Progress Scholarship Program, all high school graduates from Sevier County who meet the program's eligibility requirements can attend Walter State Community College tuition-free. Since 2003, a total of $865,000 has been contributed to the program by the governments of Sevier County. The Sevier County Commission, the Sevierville Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and the Gatlinburg Board of Commissioners, and the Pigeon Forge Board of Mayor and Aldermen have contributed more than $10.9 million to Walter State Community College and higher education in Tennessee. Because of their contributions, more people living in East Tennessee have an opportunity to improve their lives through higher education. A ceremony was held on February 25th to honor the recipients. Those participating in the award presentation were Gatlinburg City Commissioner Jerry Hayes, Pigeon Forge Alderman David Ware, Sevierville Vice Mayor Dale Carr, and Sevier County Mayor Larry Waters. Regent Danny Varlin, Chancellor John Morgan, and Dr. Wade McCamey also attended the presentation. For additional remarks, I'd like to ask Dr. Wade McCamey to come to the podium at this time. Dr. McCamey.
Thank you very much, Regent Roddy, Chairman Duckett, Chancellor Morgan, Regent Varlin, other members of the Board of Regents. On behalf of Walter State Community College, we especially thank you for your role in recognizing this outstanding group today of 4 governmental entities. Most of the details Regent Roddy has shared with you. I'll add simply that collectively these governmental entities have contributed over $11 million in support of the Sevier County campus, with another $11 million coming in from the private sector for a total $22 million infrastructure and operation. I sincerely believe that this may be one of the best examples of local support in the entire southeastern region of our country. These recipients being noted here today are a testament to the importance of local community support of public higher education in Tennessee. In fact, the beautiful Sevier County campus is a symbol that community leadership and commitment denotes their desire to improve the lives of their citizens through education. They have provided unprecedented financial support for capital projects, and as Regent Roddy mentioned, over $800,000 for scholarships. So, Mr. Chairman, Regent members, again, thank you for acknowledging this outstanding group today. Thank you very much.
Dr. McCamey, thank you for your remarks, and certainly that's a model that counties throughout Tennessee can follow in generating governmental and other support for our institutions. Mr. Vice Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Roddy. This is an informational item, requires no action by the board, but I do want to thank Dr. McCamey as well as the individuals who have participated in this activity, because it is truly something that can become a model that we can replicate throughout the state. Next item on the agenda would be item 4, our report of the Chancellor, and I'll turn to Chancellor Morgan. I'd wondered how long it would take for that slip to occur. I apologize. Chancellor Morgan for the report.
Thank you, as Chairman, and I will be brief and perhaps reserve a little of my time for conversation around the tuition issue. We'll get to it in just a few minutes. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to specifically mention, 3 perhaps, of activities that I have been engaged in over the last few weeks. You know that I was embarked upon a journey to try to visit every one of our campuses as quickly as I could. I have done that but for one place, and for some reason Ralph Robbins at Livingston has avoided having me come to Livingston. I think, but his time is coming, and I will be there. I will be there soon. But that is the last location, and then I'll be ready to start over again. Perhaps he's been too busy with Ollie the Otter to have me there. But there are a couple of meetings that I participated in that I think are worth noting. One was here in May 26th. The Tennessee Alliance for Teacher Education met here. That is a group of all the teacher preparation, college teacher prep programs in the state. Met with the folks from the National Council of Accreditation for Teacher Education. That's the national accreditation organization, and the director of the Council of Chief State School Officers, to really talk about the teacher prep programs that are going on, the revisions, the reinvention, and really innovation of our teacher preparation programs, in large part in the Tennessee Board of Regents institutions. The Ready to Teach initiative is really focused around the things that we believe are most important in terms of teacher preparation, and that's content knowledge and clinical practice. I had an occasion to talk with the commissioner some last evening about the things that are going on in the Tennessee Board of Regents in terms of teacher preparation, but also as we look down the road, and I think the governor is committed to the notion that the best way to ensure the best education is get the best people in classrooms as teachers and giving them the training they need and attracting really the best and brightest into the teaching profession is all of what we're about. And I look forward to working with the commissioner over the coming years to make sure that Tennessee Board of Regents is well positioned. But this was a chance for Tennessee to once again establish itself really on the leading edge. We're doing things in Tennessee that really are leading the country in terms of innovation, and our Ready to Teach program is one of those. The second thing I'll mention is just on June 20th, I was able to be at the Sevier County campus, which we just recognized Sevier County and the cities there for what they've done. And if you haven't been to that facility, I know many of you have, it is truly a breathtaking place. So you kind of come around a curve, down a hill, and there before you is this fabulous facility, multiple buildings in the Sevier County campus. But the purpose of this visit was for the Tennessee P20 Apple Education Mobilization Summit. And what I learned there is that once again, Tennessee is really on the cutting edge of utilizing smart technology, smartphones, iPads, iPods, the whole range of smart devices as tools to really affect student learning and student engagement. It was fascinating. Tristan Denley from Austin Peay was there and demonstrated to the group the app that has been created at Austin Peay that enables students to do a multiple number of things, including get suggestions about what courses they ought to consider taking based on their particular history and their particular needs in their major. But it's an exciting time, and it's really an exciting proposition that here in Tennessee we really are leading the way at Walter State, at Austin Peay, at the rest of our institutions with the able guidance of Dr. Robbie Melton, who works for Dr. Short, that we really are innovating in a way that I think we can all be proud, but more importantly, we're innovating in a way that really will lead to student success. So those are a couple of things that I thought worth mentioning to you. One final thing I'll mention is in a similar fashion to what's going on in Sevier County, I got to participate this week in a ribbon cutting up in Robertson County, where Vol State and Austin Peay will offer programs in a very serious and comprehensive way for citizens in Robertson County. And that too represented a partnership. It was a partnership of the City of Springfield, of Robertson County, of the hospital there, to really bring together the resources, both physical assets as well as operating capital, to enable us to embark on those programs in Robertson County. That is the model. That is the way that we're going to be able to take education to Tennesseans at a time when that is exactly what we need to be doing. So that's my report for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Morgan. Are there any questions or comments regarding the Chancellor's report? If not, at this time, we will turn to the reports from our presidents and directors of our institutions, and representing our technology centers today is Dr. Carolyn Purrier.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are we all doing today? I feel like you're probably tired of hearing about the technology centers after the road builders presentation and then listening to Mary Elaine Wilson, but my boss would fire me if I didn't do a report, so I'm going to do a report. So bear with me, but it will be an abbreviated report because after hearing from our student, I think she did an excellent job of just summing up what we do at our centers, and she's a great representative of thousands of those students, and I'm so glad you got to hear her this morning. It may be hard to tell, but we're a little light on directors in the room. As we said yesterday, we have several directors attending the National Skills USA competition in Kansas City, Missouri. And from all reports, we are going to have some gold medals coming home. And The contests really do allow the students to compete first at their region and then at national and some of the state at some of the competitions, and then on at the national level. And not only is it the competition, but it's also the leadership skills and the confidence that these students gain that really make a difference. And so we're very proud that they're in Kansas City. And Skills USA is an organization made up of businesses, partnerships with education entities, the business entity. The goal is to make sure that we produce the very best technical employees that we can. So it's a great week. It's also a tiring week. But just in case we don't bring home all of the golds, I do want to remind you that our students there are in the top 2% of the nation, which is a pretty good place to be. So we're very proud of those students. We're proud of the faculty and the staff that support that project. So we'll keep you posted in September on how many gold medals we have, Regent Markham. We'll let you know. Also, while the Vice Chancellor was in Kansas City, he was appointed to the National Executive Skills USA Board as the new Vice President. He was the Secretary, and there's some discussion with the directors that maybe his keyboarding skills may have put him out of the Secretary position and moved him on up to Vice President, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But we are proud of him and his involvement with that national organization. At our state competition back in March, the TTCs did award over $1 million to that first place outstanding secondary students in Skills USA. We hope that the best and the brightest at the secondary level will continue their education at the technology centers. So we look forward to those students. And as Vice Chancellor King mentioned yesterday, we are still getting comments about our placement and completion rate. We have been included in the new book, it's not even released yet, called The Innovative University, where Tennessee Technology Centers are featured, and as an example of an institution that rewards degrees for significantly lower than average cost by employing innovative techniques to increase productivity without increased spending. Professor Christensen and Henry Irving assert that our practices, if broadly applied, would allow the United States to match the world leaders in educational attainment without increased expenditure. And that's their words. That is not Vice Chancellor King's words. Those really did come out of the book. So we're proud of that, and I'm sure you'll all get some more information on that as time goes on. We do have several special guests in the next room. I think they're in the overflow room number 1, but it is our leadership class from the TTCs. We choose participants across the state from all of the centers to be in this class, and it is an honor to be chosen to participate. And they will serve for a year learning about the technology center's system. They will learn about accreditation. They'll learn budgeting, all the HR areas, strategic planning, and on and on and on. And also get to attend the board meetings, because while the directors may be here, we've got 400 other employees across the state still on campus. So it's a good opportunity for the participants to see just exactly what happens at the board meetings and learn about our system. And so we're proud that they're here today, and again, they're right on the other side of the wall. So I hope that you'll get to meet some of them today as the meeting continues. Dr. Brad White, the director at TTC Paris and McKenzie, oversees the leadership class and does an outstanding job in planning and preparing and making sure those are meaningful experiences. You also have a newsletter and a new format, thanks to Carol Tomlinson and Leanne Blevins at the board office. You'll notice it's kind of changed just a little bit. They've worked on the format, and it's an excellent newsletter that I think you'll enjoy reading and finding out exactly what's taking place on our campuses. There's information certainly about Skills USA. You'll notice some new certification awards that we have going on, the awards that Athens received for their scholarship, their community scholarship. TTC Shelbyville received their computer information technology program, was recognized by Computer World, so there's a little article on that as well. There's also some very innovative green technology projects going on at Crossville and several other of the schools, so I think you'll enjoy reading. It's a nice variety of the different types of activities that are taking place on our campuses, and I hope you'll enjoy taking a look at those. As as you peruse the rest of your meeting and weekend. We do want to say congratulations to Jeff Sis as the new director, excuse me, at the TTC Jackson. We know as directors that Jeff will continue his outstanding job that he's had at Whiteville, Crump, and now Jackson. We know that he will continue that excellent job. We're just not sure which director's car he's going to be driving next week. We're a little confused on that, but other than that, we're okay with it, but we're very proud of that. We'd also like to recognize Lana Pierce for serving as the interim director at Jackson. We appreciate Lana leaving retirement to come back, and that's a pretty big question when someone calls and asks you to do that. But Ms. Pierce did an outstanding job and as always gave 110%. And we appreciate her coming back to campus to share her leadership and her knowledge. So Lana, we may let you go for a little while, but you may get another phone call. Now, we just don't know if she's going to answer the phone the next time would be the problem. And I think we mentioned, I think Shelley Travis is out of the room, but again, the directors do want to wish Shelley Travis, the Assistant Vice Chancellor, for curriculum well. She has worked so hard for our system. Her enthusiasm, her dedication, and her knowledge has been felt by every campus. It's been felt on the state level and as well as regionally and nationally. So we will miss her, but we do wish her well in her new position. She's going with advanced ed. And as the Vice Chancellor mentioned, she actually starts next week. So we sent her off last night with tears and laughter, so I hope that worked well for her. In closing, the TTCs would just like to thank the board for their leadership and their guidance during these tough decision times. We know it's been a rough few months preparing for this meeting, and we appreciate your dedication to work through to make best decisions for our students and for our campuses. So thank you on behalf of the centers. And Vice Chair, that completes my report. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions about Regents? Not. Thank you for an excellent report.
Thank you.
Providing the reports for the community colleges, I would call on Dr. Warren Nichols to come forward, please.
Thank you, Chairman, Chancellor, Regents, colleagues. There are so many type of things that we would want to bring forward, but we know that time is limited, so I'm just going to talk about 20 minutes worth. First off, let's share the good news, and it is good news. You do have the community college report. Please make sure that you have an opportunity to see this. We also have, for quite a while now, been putting this out in an electronic format as well. The intent is that we are so proud of the work that all of our colleges are doing that it should be shared with more than just a select few around the state. So we do send this out electronically with the hope that businesses and industry, chambers of commerce, legislators, everyone will have the opportunity to see just exactly what the quality of a community college and the quality of our students truly is. And you would also note that this particular edition, we started with Walters State, just to show that we're not playing favorites by starting with the ABCs. So, Walters got it this time, and hopefully Ball State will get it eventually as a front one, I don't know. In addition to that, there's a few other things that I would kind of like to take a moment to talk about. You heard me speak a moment ago about quality. There continues to be in the press and in different circles some discussion from time to time about transferability of our students to the universities. I'll pick that up later. There is still a tremendous amount of interest out there as to what are the transfer rates, accreditation issues, articulation issues. Dr. Short mentioned yesterday about the universal transfer pathways, which the state legislature 2 years ago now passed, which basically created the opportunity for our students, community college students, to transfer at the end of 2 years with a 2-year degree and go into a university as a junior status. One of the things as we move forward with the community college state marketing plan is to make sure that we highlight not only the quality of the instruction of a community college, but also the advantages of starting at a community college. Actually, in many cases, starting at the technology center, then moving to the community college, and then on to the university as the truly seamless education that we all expect. Recently, I had the opportunity it's a horrible, horrible job sometimes, but you know, you have to do what you got to do. And so I had to go to Ireland, Denmark, and the Netherlands on college business. And yes, it was college business, trying to create partnerships and articulations because of the things that Alan Edwards first brought to the table with the TENSIS, where we have so many of our students now the opportunity to travel and study abroad. And Alan could give much more detailed work about the success of TENSIS and the number of our community college students that have traveled abroad. But what we found most striking is the fact that it really doesn't matter where you are in the world today. It is the community colleges that is being expected and replicated and duplicated throughout the world. Fulbright, there was something, Fulbright scholars, they are actively recruiting right now, actively recruiting community college leaders and faculty to go to Russia. Russia is very interested in creating a new community college type of system. China has created about 3 years ago now, the entire country of China has mandated that every higher education president must travel to one of 3 countries, United States being one of those, must travel and take tours and extensive knowledge regarding the community college system. When I was in Ireland, Denmark, Netherlands, same thing applies. Everyone wants to know about community colleges. Why? 2 of the biggest reasons that they are finding attractive about community colleges is how quickly we can turn an academic program to address the needs of the business and industry. It's all about workforce. It's all about economic development. We have to go no further in this state than to look, first off, at Hemlock. Hemlock partners with Austin Peay State University, not necessarily for a university transfer degree, but for a 2-year associate's degree. Then you go over to Chattanooga State, and you go over to Cleveland State, and you see what they're doing with some the German businesses there. It is all about workforce education. It is all about gainful employment. It's all about working with businesses and industries and preparing those the workers for that group. And the fact that we produce a quality student and a quality product. Now, under Dr. Short's leadership, we're doing some things with what we call A100 guidelines. We do fully recognize the fact that many students are coming to us that are not as academically prepared as we would all want them to be. And we understand that there have been significant issues in the past to making sure that our students that start off academically underprepared have an opportunity to come to classes and get out within a reasonable amount of time. So the Board of Regents has created something called the A100 guidelines. Bruce Blanding at Jackson State, Carl Hyde at Cleveland State were the leaders in something called the NCAT and the Emporium model that we're all very proud of and that we're all working forward to improve the quality of the student success. So there are things that we are doing at the community colleges that I am very proud of, that we are working forward on to continue to improve the success of our students. Two last things, then I'll hush. This is probably our last meeting with our good friend and colleague, Alan Edwards from Pellissippi. And Alan appropriately will be recognized a little bit later in the program. But the community colleges wanted to make sure that Dr. Edwards understands how much we appreciate what he has done for community colleges in the state of Tennessee. So Alan, congratulations. And also something for the old timers in the crowd, probably something that they never really thought would happen, is to see Volunteer State up here acknowledging and giving credit to Nashville State Community College. but I don't know where Dr. Van Allen, is George even here? Congratulations to Nashville State for the work for today and for the work that they did on the earlier presentation. It's some really marvelous work that they're doing with the metro schools in Davidson County. And that also is going to be a true model for this state in the future. So good job to Nashville State. And then I also want to share some sentiments expressed by my colleague Carol. It's a tough time. Economically, it's a tough time. It's politically, it's a tough time. And tough decisions and hard decisions need to be made. As a product myself of a community college, as a first-generation student, I will stand up here and tell you that I hate what is happening as far as increasing tuition rates for community college students and all students. That's why it is so critically important that we make sure that through businesses and industries and foundations that we do everything that we know how to do to continue raising funds for scholarships so that our students can afford to go to college and that no one is left behind. Having said that, the realities of the world are that we do need tuition increase. About a year ago now, 6 months, 8 months ago, I came before this body and specifically requested your support to make sure that our lowest paid faculty and custodians and staff could pay their bills, especially with the increased health costs. And you responded, and we appreciate that. It is time. 4 years is way too long for state employees to go without a salary increase. I applaud the state. I applaud the governor for his initiative in helping us move forward. And I really do appreciate your careful consideration to the matters before you. So again, Mr. Chairman, I close my remarks. Certainly take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Are there any questions by any regents of Dr. Nichols? Not?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again. And coming forth representing the four-year institution is Dr. Shirley Raines. The podium is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Regents, good to see you here today, and thank you also to everyone here in Nashville for the warm welcome we've had. High Signs is before you. One of the things that I said to you the last time when I gave a report was that we would have at least one item from each university that focused on retention and graduation rates, or something that we were doing more intensely because of that challenge for us. I would also say we do study very closely every student who comes into our universities. If they transfer from a community college, whether they succeed at the universities or not, and frankly, the success rate is very high. In some majors, it is as great as it is for those who start at universities. So there's a lot of data that we at universities have that I think is data that we use to make sure that we're helping students to stay in school and to graduate. Middle Tennessee State University, if you're looking at this High Signs, There is a special emblem also about the President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll, which comes from the President of the United States. The University of Memphis is also on this honor roll. And because I know so much community service happens through our universities and their outreach to their cities and communities, I would encourage everyone in the TBR system of universities to apply, because it is a rigorous process of being reviewed, but it also helps our communities understand what we do in public service. And since that question came up yesterday about public service, I thought I'd throw that in. But now back to retention and graduation rates. At MTSU, they've started some living learning communities for first-generation college students, asking them to live together in their residence halls, and then are placing many more mentoring and advising services in those residence halls, particularly for what they're calling Generation Next students. That's, again, devoted toward helping students who are first-generation college students to succeed. At Tennessee State University, in their recruitment and retention graduation initiatives, they're doing something that I found intriguing and want to see if I can borrow for the University of Memphis. But for students who are first-time students who are finding some difficulty, they're using the breaks, the extreme spring break, what they call Maymester, an academic boot camp for summer school, to say, okay, you're having trouble. Maybe you're not having trouble in all subjects, but some subjects. What can we do at those interim periods to intensify the work and have students to either accelerate their degree completion, which we all are eager in doing, or to re-enroll in classes in which they may need some extra assistance? I would like to see that replicated. At the Tennessee Technology Center, Tennessee Technology University, TTU, in the Volpe Library, they've transformed their library into what are called Learning Commons, where they're bringing IT services, advising services, and tutorial services together to increase student success. And of course, one of the things all of us know is on our campuses, our services are often quite dispersed, and getting a student to utilize all the services that are available can often be helped by centralizing them in one place. And that is, again, one of the things that the Tennessee Technology University, Tennessee Tech, is doing. Austin Peay's wonderful new app that they're doing that is similar to Netflix and Amazon. It has already been mentioned by Chancellor Morgan, but this is a system where students can look at their requirements, look at their courses, and work toward more self-advising, but also look at what might be the best option for them depending on what their skills are, what their ambitions are, and what the best academic match is. And not only do the students use this, but the faculty. So I'm interested in finding out more about that one as well. At East Tennessee State University, they too have opened a new center for academic achievement, again in the library, at the Sherrod Library at East Tennessee State. They're pulling their tutorial services for writing and oral communication, math, science, testing service, and Office of Assessment and Teaching together, and with a lot more technology, are marshaling those resources and tracking students for retention and graduation. Now, if your students don't graduate, there's something at the University of Memphis. We have a program that we're really excited about, and it's called Getting Students Back on Track. We know that students leave universities for a variety of reasons before graduating. We're told that if we could increase the number of students who left in good standing, but for whatever reason, social reason, financial reason, they left before graduating, and getting them back, it would add billions, and there is a calculation somewhere, but I couldn't find it this morning, billions of dollars to the state of Tennessee's economy. Well, we've identified and are identifying even more students who have almost finished their degrees but need to get back on track. Some of them have been gone for a long time from school, but we started with 50 students that we're giving them an academic restart. We're not canceling out grades. We're not doing that. It's not that. It is those students who left in academic good standing but for whatever reason did not finish. We think that there are hundreds, maybe thousands of those right in Memphis. So we think if that's true in Memphis, it's true in other parts of the state. So while there are lots of things to brag about, what we're trying to do is not only look at each of these retention efforts, but we want to make sure that our institutional research offices at each of our universities follows the success rate of each of these endeavors, because we can try a lot of things, but we want to make sure that what we're trying works, and that we look not only at the graduation rate, but also we look at what the costs of these endeavors are. So that is my report, and this ends my year of giving reports on behalf of the universities. I, too, thank you for your service to all of us. Next year, it's Sidney McPhee's turn. He's not here today, so he's voted by acclamation to replace me. But thank you again, and I will answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Raines. Are there any questions by any members of the Board of Regents?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, may I ask?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
interested in any early thinking that you all are having right now as you prepare for the changes that happen in the lottery scholarship, where you've got a summer term now. Just for us, because we're going to have to be thinking about this as well, and be helpful, any preliminary thoughts about how does that change, the way that you approach it? How does it change the faculty? A lot of faculty who are off in the summertime. Just any early thoughts would be very useful.
Well, we will follow that for you and can give you an update. But I can tell you, all of us, although, university presidents aren't supposed to lobby, but all of us informed the legislature that we really wanted that summer. We think it is a way to get people acclimated to college life. But yes, we'll follow what the implications are for enrollment and costs. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Raines.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is unfinished business, and there is no unfinished business on the agenda. As such, we will move to item 7, which is new business, which is the report of the Finance and Business Operations Committee on June 23rd, 2011, that includes approval of tuition and maintenance fees and approval of funding for operations for 2011 and 2012 fiscal year. I call on Regent Ferris at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Business Operations Committee met in a special session on Tuesday, June the 13th, to review and recommend approval of tuition and maintenance fees for the fiscal year 2011-2012. After 6 months of discussions and deliberations, the committee recommendation before you takes into account the financial condition of our institutions, including the cumulative effects of 4 years of state funding reductions and the implementation of both the new outcome funding formula and removal of the hold harmless provision of the old formula. At this time, I'd like to call on Chancellor Morgan for a few comments.
Thank you, Regent Ferris, and I'll be brief, but I did want to, with your indulgence, talk just for a few minutes about a context around or within which these fee increases are taking place. I think what you have heard from the reports from the TTCs, the community colleges, and the universities is a litany of activity that is taking place across our system that is really aimed at enhancing student success, at achieving outcomes. Clearly, the legislature and the governor have defined for us what our agenda is, and our agenda is to produce a better educated Tennessee citizenry. And in order to do that, it has required a great deal of activity across our campuses, and I'm very proud to say that as I have visited, as I have talked with the leaders across our institutions, in every case, there are extraordinary things taking place. There are efforts to re-engineer the way we deliver teaching and learning. There are efforts to align resources in a way that we are making sure that we're spending what we have to spend in a way that is most likely to be successful. And that's causing a lot of disruption. I mean, it's a new day, it's a new environment, it's a new reality, as the governor likes to say. The physical reality is that we have to do things differently. But I thought it would be useful perhaps just to spend a minute, and Carol, if you can pull these up. These are some things that the Finance Committee has seen before. But even with the increases that we're asking you, that we're recommending that you take final action on today, after all is said and done, all the work that's being done on our campuses, all the new approaches, all the enhanced opportunities that we're providing for students are being done in a circumstance where we really have less money per student today and will have less money per student tomorrow after you take this action than we had 4 years ago in 2008. This shows how that plays out across our universities. On average, it's about 5% less per full-time equivalent student than we had 4 years ago. And that's after we have increased, increased energy cost. As operating costs go up, things like electricity and natural gas and other kinds of energy, as other kinds of operating costs go up, we absorb that. Those are accommodated through reallocations, through efficiencies, through improvements in effectiveness on our institutions. At our community colleges, the numbers are even more dramatic. On average, if I see the line correctly, it's a little over 11% per FTE less money we have in 2012 than we had in 2008. Now, to be clear, what I'm talking about here are recurring base revenues. There's some one-time money that factors into this. It's not taken into account on these charts. But in terms of what our institutional leaders really have to work with as they plan their forward-looking operations, there are less resources today, even after we take action in a few minutes that results in a 9.5% increase in revenue for our community colleges. The same story at the technology centers, where we have almost 12% less per full-time equivalent student. So I just wanted to put a context, or put this in a context that, yes, we're raising fees. Yes, in some measures, in terms of total dollars, perhaps we have more money than we've ever had before. But in terms of the service burden and the service opportunity that we have to serve students at Tennessee, we are truly doing more in a more effective way with less money. So I just thought it's important for all of us to understand that as we have to take these unpleasant actions to increase the cost of higher education on our students. The encouraging news is that the governor has said now on a number of occasions in recent days that he understands the dilemma, he understands the difficulty of raising tuition, because every time we raise the price, it potentially prices someone out of opportunity. He recognizes that, and I believe he is committed to looking for ways to try to avoid further cuts in state funding in higher education, and perhaps to begin to identify ways of investing more public resources in public higher education. So we're doing a good job in our system of trying to accommodate this new physical reality and at the same time, really improving our outcomes. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'm not going to go through each one of these recommendations for increases, but I did want to just say that the board is continuing its initiative to reduce the amount paid by part-time students that acts to subsidize the cost for full-time students. And we have reduced that from 85% to 80%, that discount rate. The professional schools will also see an increase. And then Chancellor Morgan went over the basic reductions in state funding that we've had, 5% at the universities, 11% at the community colleges, and 12% at the technology centers over the last 4 years. So anyway, with that, Mr. Chairman, as chairman of the committee, I'm going to move approval of these recommendations.
Thank you. You've heard a recommendation from Regent Ferris, approval of the tuition and fee increase recommendations. Is there a second to that?
Second the motion.
It's been properly second. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, maybe, let me make one point, because I think that our chair, committee chair helped drive this home, and that Vice Chancellor Sims has been helpful as well. And that is to add on what the Chancellor's talking about in context, and that is to make sure that people understand, while we talk about a percentage increase, that we also make sure they understand the number that's built off of and what the actual dollar amount is. That doesn't always get put out there, but I think it's helpful to people to realize when you've got a 9% or 10% or 11% increase, what that really means in terms of real dollars. So that it's helpful to a student, to a parent making a decision to figure out whether that can happen. I had an opportunity this morning at the hotel to meet a student who is in this room today who said, you know, when you think about it, it's like the cost of buying this iPhone or this iPod. And it's a great way to give context so you can realize for even though we have to go up, we have to charge more, is letting people understand what that number really is and how to sort of put it in a context so you can say, is this the investment that I ought to make or should I make an investment someplace else? So I just want to share that because I think it really is important as we communicate this out that people understand the amount of money we're talking about, not just a percentage.
Yes. Excellent point, and I concur completely. We must keep these conversations in the context from an outright financial impact perspective, because as we all have struggled in trying to reach decisions regarding what are the appropriate tuition levels to establish, we have been focused on that. And I guess my last comment would be, I do want to again thank Regent Ferris and the members of the committee, because this has been, as he touched on, a lengthy process in terms of looking at numbers and trying to figure out just what is the most appropriate thing for us to do, because we do in fact realize that this decision does have an impact on the ability of some to make that decision to attend or not, and we have not taken that lightly. And I personally, as vice chair, commend the members who have participated in the numerous special calls regarding this issue. Is there any other comments or discussion?
I'd just like to say real quickly, you know, as the
Yeah.
chancellor had said,
Yes, yes.
okay. As the chancellor had said, it's a
Pull
new
your
day.
mic,
and
pull your mic to you.
Sorry. As the chancellor had said, it's a new day and a new reality, and unfortunately, I know we have hard decisions, but it's a sad day that students are going to have to carry even a heavier burden percentage or in reality figures, but a sad day that we have to continue that burden.
Thank you, Regent McCullough. And I understand and we all concur with that reality, yes. This is a financial matter that is before the board. As such, it requires a roll call vote. That being the case, I would ask the secretary to call the roll.
Regent Copeland. Aye. Regent Duckett.
Aye.
Regent Kisber.
Aye.
Regent Ferris.
Aye.
Regent Gidcombe.
Aye.
Regent Griscom.
Aye.
Regent Huffman. Regent Johnson. Regent Markham. Regent McCullum.
Nay.
Regent Montgomery. Regent Reynolds. Regent Roddy.
Aye.
Regent Thomas.
Aye.
Regent Barlin.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Yes, second.
As part of the committee report, you've been provided with the operating budget for the system totaling almost $3 billion for fiscal year 2010, 2011, and $2.7 billion for fiscal year 2011, 2012, which were recommended for approval at yesterday's committee meeting. This budget is based on the level of state funds recommended in the governor's proposed budget, as well as early estimates of factors such as enrollment growth, research activities, and availability of federal funds. The full effect of the approved fee increases and any enrollment changes will be included in the October revised budget. As committee chairman, I move the board approve the committee recommendations regarding the operating budget for both fiscal year 2010-11 and fiscal year 11-12.
Is there a second to the motion? Second. It has been properly moved and second that the two operating budgets for the system be approved. Is there any discussion by members of the board? Hearing none, this too is a financial matter which requires a roll call vote. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Regent Copeland.
Aye.
Regent Duckett.
Aye.
Regent Kisber. Regent Ferris.
Aye.
Regent Gidcombe. Regent Griscom.
Aye.
Regent Huffman. Regent Johnson. Regent Markham. Regent McCullum.
Nay.
Regent Montgomery. Regent Reynolds. Regent Roddy.
Aye.
Regent Thomas.
Aye.
Regent Barlin.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you again, Regent Ferris. Appreciate the work of the committee. Next item on the agenda is the report of the Personnel and Compensation Committee on June 23rd, 2011. That includes faculty promotional increases and approval of system compensation plan recommendations. I call on Regent Paul Montgomery for the report. Yep.
Yesterday's committee report, you have before you the minutes of our meeting, and such that we're recommending tenure promotional recommendations we're giving, as well as the faculty recommended for promotions, and third item was promotional increases at universities, both four-year institutions and two-year institutions, including the technology centers. And the fourth item was our system-wide compensation increases. As you know, the staff has done an excellent job in their research and their recommendations to us. And I know many of you, or probably all of you, joined me in this effort that is well overdue, the increases to our staff and faculty. So I would move that we approve this report.
Thank you, Regent Montgomery. It has been moved that we approve the Personnel and Compensation Committee report from yesterday. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, this is an item that requires a roll call vote. I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
Regent Copeland.
Aye.
Regent Duckett.
Aye.
Regent Ferris.
Aye.
Regent Gidcombe. Regent Griscom.
Aye.
Regent Huffman. Regent Johnson. Regent Kisber. Regent Markham. Regent McCullum.
Aye.
Regent Montgomery. Regent Reynolds. Regent Roddy. Regent Thomas.
Aye.
Regent Barlin.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of a series of resolutions of appreciation. The first is a resolution of appreciation for Regent Eugenia Clark. I will call on Regent Fran Markham at this time.
A resolution of appreciation for the service of Regent Eugenia Clark to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas Regent Eugenia W. Clark was appointed by Governor Phil Bredesen to serve on the Tennessee Board of Regents to represent the 7th Congressional District, and whereas she is the esteemed president and CEO of the Girl Scout Council of the Cumberland Valley, an organization that serves more than 17,000 girls and 8,500 volunteers in 39 counties throughout Middle Tennessee. And whereas Regent Clark graciously donates her time to various civic and community organizations, such as the Board of Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, the Center for Nashville Studies, and Vanderbilt University and Steering Committee for Nashville Agenda. And whereas she is an alumni of Leadership Nashville, class of 1998, and a 2001 nominee for the Athena Award, which recognizes women in leadership roles in their community. And whereas she initiated and facilitated an innovative partnership between the Girl Scouts of Middle Tennessee and the Tennessee Technology Centers to establish a local car care clinics for area Girl Scouts. These clinics were designated to better prepare the Scouts to deal with automotive maintenance and safety issues. And whereas during her tenure on the board, Regent Clark engagingly served on presidential search committees for a president at Columbia State Community College, Roane State Community College, Motlow State Community College, and Tennessee State University. And whereas Regent Clark led the 6th largest higher educational system in the United States in an intense search to hire the 7th Chancellor of the Tennessee Board of Regents with a commitment to finding the best candidate. And whereas she diligently participated in board deliberations and contributed greatly to the governance of the system as chair of the Finance and Business Operations Committee, chair of the Audit Committee, and as chair of the Academic Policies and Programs Committee. As a member of the Compensation Committee, the Business Community and Public Affairs Committee, the Ad Hoc Committee on Capital Outlay and Capital Maintenance, and the Ad Hoc Committee on Strategic Planning. And whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents system is a stronger system of higher learning due to her countless hours of support and dedication. Whereas she is an individual of high integrity and wisdom with a sincere interest in the welfare of children and the education of students across the state of Tennessee. And now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Regent Eugenia W. Clark for her years of service rendered and the leadership afforded to the Tennessee Board of Regents system. Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we adopt this resolution.
Thank you. You've heard the motion to adopt the resolution as read. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution of appreciation for Regent Barry Gitcomb, and I call on Regent Bob Thomas to present that.
A resolution in appreciation for the service of Dr. Barry Gitcomb as faculty regent for the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents in regular session at Nashville State Community College in Nashville, Tennessee, wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Dr. Barry Gitcomb for his service as faculty regent. And whereas he was appointed to this position by the Honorable Phil Bredesen, Governor of the State of Tennessee, for the 2010-2011 academic year. And whereas he has fulfilled his responsibilities in an exemplary manner by contributing to the governance of the institutions within the purview of the Board of Regents, sharing his concerns for the faculty within the board system and for educational quality. And whereas he has provided leadership, guidance, and expertise to the board in the areas of articulation and student life, and has represented his colleagues and students of the TBR system with unwavering and distinguished service. And whereas he has used his experiences to devote considerable time, effort, and perspective as a member of the Committee on Academic Policies and Programs and the Tennessee Technology Centers Committee. And whereas during his tenure with the board, he unfailingly fulfilled his responsibilities through active participation in board deliberations and contributed greatly to the governance of the system. And whereas he is an individual of high integrity and wisdom, with truly a sincere interest in the welfare of the Tennessee Board of Regents system and Tennessee higher education. And whereas his tenure has been marked by selfless support of the system and a number of its individual institutions, now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents system expresses its sincere appreciation to Dr. Barry Gitcomb for his dedication and contributions to the board and to its institutions, and extends best wishes to him in all of his future pursuits. I move, Mr. Chairman, the adoption of this resolution.
Thank you. You've heard motion to adopt the resolution as read. Is there a second? It has been properly motioned and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one additional comment. I've been on this board for 6 years, and we've had 6 faculty regents. Without demeaning any of them, I would like to state for this body that Dr. Gitcomb has been as conscientious and as caring and as concerned as any faculty regent that I've served with, and I particularly want to congratulate you for the job you've done, Dr. Gitcomb.
I think all of us will echo that because you have done a tremendous job there. Yep. Any other comments? If not, all in favor of the resolution as having been read signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposes, no. The resolution is approved. Thank you. Our next resolution is a resolution of appreciation for Regent Casey McCollum, and I will call on Regent John Farris to present that resolution.
This is a resolution of appreciation for the service of Ms. Casey McCollum as Student Regent for the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents in regular session at Nashville State Community College in Nashville wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Ms. Casey McCollum for her dedicated and valuable service as Student Regent. And whereas Ms. McCollum was appointed Student Regent by the Honorable Phil Bredesen, Governor of the State of Tennessee, for the 2010-2011 academic year, and as such has been an instrument of positive and effective change. And whereas Ms. McCollum's contributions to higher education are commendable and have included providing insight on important issues concerning legislation impacting students and student life on TBR campuses. And whereas Ms. McCollum has used her experiences and unique perspective to devote considerable time and effort as a member of the Committee on Academic Policies and Programs and the Finance and Business Operations Committee, and whereas during her tenure with the board, Ms. McCollum unfailingly fulfilled her responsibilities through active and eager participation in board deliberations and contributed greatly to the governance of the system. And whereas she is an individual of high integrity and wisdom with truly a sincere interest in the welfare of the Tennessee Board of Regents system and Tennessee higher education. And whereas her tenure has been marked by selfless support of the system and a number of its individual institutions, now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Ms. Casey McCollum for her dedication and many contributions to the Tennessee Board of Regents system. And I would move adoption, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard the motion to adopt the resolution as presented. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adoption of the resolution signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposes, no. Congratulations. Right. Yeah. Next, we have a resolution of appreciation for President Alan Edwards. That resolution also includes President Emeritus status. I will call on Regent Danny Varlin to present, that resolution.
A resolution of appreciation for the service of Dr. Alan Edwards to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas Dr. Alan G. Edwards has ably and honorably served Pellissippi State Community College for the last 18 years and has led the college in its growth to 5 campus locations in Knox and Blount counties, has overseen record-breaking enrollment and significant gains in student quality. And whereas Dr. Edwards has positioned the college as an economic asset in the community by supporting the establishment of the new nursing program, as well as the establishment of a new concentration in culinary arts, developing the common academic experience, and broadening the academic offerings of the college. And whereas Dr. Edwards has demonstrated commitment to campus growth and improvement by overseeing the construction of a new Blount County campus, the Bagwell Center for Media and Art, and the Educational Resources Center, coordinating the acquisition and award-winning renovation of the Magnolia Avenue campus, and ensuring successful completion of the addition to the Clayton Performing Arts Center. And whereas Dr. Edwards has enriched opportunities to share Pellissippi State experiences with the community by launching the annual Pellissippi State Hot Air Balloon Festival, welcoming numerous authors, musicians, artists, filmmakers, and national and international guest speakers to the college, and spearheading Pellissippi State's successful drive to become an all-Steinway school. And whereas Dr. Edwards has positioned the college on an international scale and broadened the international opportunities for students by founding the Tennessee Consortium for International Studies, headquartered at Pellissippi State, and by initiating the establishment of the Confucius Classroom. And whereas Dr. Edwards has positioned Pellissippi State Community College for the future by creating a community-based college that, while receiving worldwide recognition, is firmly grounded in enriching lives in the community which it serves. Whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents wishes to grant President Emeritus status to Dr. Alan G. Edwards for his continued support and leadership to the system. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Dr. Alan G. Edwards for his outstanding contributions and leadership to the system, and wishes the very best to him in his retirement. Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we adopt this resolution.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution, and it has been moved. Is there a second to the motion to adopt this resolution of appreciation?
Second.
And it's been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, I would just like to add, please, point of personal privilege, that I've had the opportunity to know Dr. Edwards for 13 years in our community, and everything that the resolution says is true, but it doesn't really express, because there's no way to express the impact that he has made on our community in Knoxville and Blount County. He will be tremendously missed. He is the true definition of a servant leader, definitely empowers everyone around him to be the best that they can be. I was privileged to be on the search committee to find the new president, and I know Dr. Wise will have some big shoes to fill, but Dr. Edwards has set the path for Pellissippi going forward in a wonderful position for Dr. Wise. And just as a resident of Knox County, want to my personal appreciation to Dr. Edwards for everything that he has done for our community.
I'm going to restate the obvious, because I think it's obvious how we feel about him based on the applause that you just heard even prior to the approval of the resolution. But the motion has been made to approve the resolution and seconded. Any more comments or other comments? If not, all in favor of approval of the resolution as presented signify by aye. Aye. Opposes no. Thank you all, and I would at this time call on Dr. Edwards if you would like to make any comments. Sure, because I was remiss on the other two. Sorry.
Thank you all very much for the honor that you've accorded me. I'd like to point out Rich Rhoda is responsible for this. He, about 18 years ago, he arrived on the campus I served as president in Lexington, Kentucky, and talked to me about coming to Knoxville and to Pellissippi State. And so I'm grateful for that, Rich. I'm glad I listened to you. I've not listened to you since, by the way, but that was a good one. So anyway, and thank you. I have one regret. I regret I won't serve under John Morgan any longer than I did. I think I'm very excited about the future of TBR. You've got a great leader,
and under this board, I think you'll see great things. I'm excited, too, about the future of Pellissippi State. Anthony Wise is a good man. He'll be a great president. So I think you've done well in selecting him. Me, I'm already busy, working with the Gates Foundation a little bit, working with another group to try to set up a community college in Shanghai, China. My wife has another list that she's going to keep me busy as well. So it's been wonderful working with you all. Thank you for your support and help. Thanks to my colleagues for their friendship, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again, Alan. Obviously, you will be missed in your capacity as president, but we will continue to work with you. At this time, as I indicated, I was a little remiss, and I did not extend the opportunity to our outgoing regents, McCullum and or Gitcomb. If you would like to say anything as well to the board, please do so at this time.
As you know, I won't miss an opportunity to talk. So. I would just like to say what a privilege and honor it's been to not only get to know you and to work with you, but to be associated with you and to be associated with our fine institutions as a student. I love the TBR system, and I'd like to give a special thank you to Dr. Sidney McPhee from MTSU and also Dr. Carl Height from Cleveland State. They've been so supportive of me, as all of you have, and I can't tell you how rewarding and wonderful it's been to be a part of the TBR family. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that it has been an honor to serve with you all this year, and I appreciate the way that you welcomed me into the group, and I just appreciate everything that you all do and that you continue to do for the TBR system. On behalf of the faculty and staff, thank you so much for all that you do. It's been a privilege, and I also want to say that I've gained a whole new appreciation for the dedication and the professionalism and the hard work of the staff there at the TBR and all that they do, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you, thank you. The next item under new business is the election of the chair and vice chair for the 2011 and 2012 term of the Board of Regents. I will call on Regent Bob Thomas at this time to make nominations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. It is my honor today to nominate Governor Bill Haslam to serve as our chairman for the 2011-2012 term. And I'd also like to nominate for re-election to be vice chairman Regent Greg Duckett for this coming year. I will call for the second. Do I have a second to my motion? Seconded by everybody, I think. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Like sign. The election is unanimous. Congratulations. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I do appreciate the vote of confidence, and as I have tried to do, I will continue to try and do the best that I can in this capacity. We do have a lot of challenging issues that are before us, and I pledge to work with all various individuals in trying to do what I want us all to do, not to say that we're not, and that is keeping the main thing, and that is educating the students that are part of the TBR system, and also enhancing the economic development opportunities for those students in the state of Tennessee. So I appreciate your vote of confidence, but more importantly, I appreciate your continuing to work with me as vice chair. I've had a couple of conversations with the governor. I am very pleased with his interest in higher education and his not only interest, but his commitment to be personally involved. And I know our two commissioners are aware of this, and he has expressed, obviously his schedule is maybe a little more difficult to juggle than mine and some of us around the table, but he has generally expressed a desire to be at as many of the meetings, and I want those of you in this meeting to know that we've had some special call meetings where there were call-in meetings, and he has made himself available, and he has participated in those meetings. So that is illustrative of the fact that higher education is high on his list of priorities. So I look forward to continuing to work with you, and I thank you for selecting me as vice chair for the next term. The last item is I'd like to announce some announcements as it relates to our September quarterly meeting. That meeting will be held at Roane State Community College in Harriman, Tennessee. The committee meetings will begin after lunch on Thursday, September 22nd, and we'll have our full board meeting starting on Friday, the 23rd. I'll ask Chancellor Morgan, do you have any announcements you'd like to make before we adjourn?
No, sir.
I do want to again thank Dr. Van Allen and his staff and the team that helped to accommodate these meetings here today, because obviously a lot of work is like the duck swimming along the pond. It might look effortlessly, but those feet are moving quite rapidly to keep them in motion. So we are mindful of the work that has been done to accommodate us in being here today. I hope those of you who have not had a chance to look around this building, I believe, if memory serves, it's been open and in operation for about a year. So please take advantage of the opportunity to see the building before you leave. And with no further business before the board, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All righty, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Good job. Right.